Hind viewers, welcome back to this edition of Facts and Figures. In this, I shall be discussing Iran's march towards yet another victory. Last year, after the 12-day war between Iran and Israel, in which Iran had emerged victorious, it had got a Pyrrhic victory, which I had explained in my earlier video, as well as an article which I wrote on the Global Strategic and Defense News. I've explained the term Pyrrhic victory. Pyrrhic victory is a military term which means though one side suffers more casualty in terms of men and material, yet it emerges victorious. The same thing had happened with Iran last year. This year too, despite all the economic and military might of America and Israel, Iran is emerging victorious despite the fact that it is suffering more casualties and more damage to material. This is because Iran has prepared itself pretty well for this day. On 11th February 1979, when the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran, from that time onwards, people in power knew that a day will come when both America and Israel will wage a full-fledged war on Iran. So they prepared themselves well when the day came this year on 28th February when America and Israel launched a full-scale war on Iran. Four things that they did in the last 47 years. One, they knew they don't have enough money for a modernized air force because of the various economic sanctions put on them by the West. So they concentrated their money and energy on two things, hypersonic missile systems and drones. And today, Iran is one of the few nations in the world which can boast of a good hypersonic missile technology as well as world-class drones, whose potential we have seen in the Ukraine war when Russia used it with great impunity. The second thing that Iran did in the last 47 years was they knew that their drone and missile manufacturing facilities will be targeted by the enemy. So they sited them or they built them in the mountains much below the ground level. Third, for all the important appointments of Iran, a 5-down succession plan was chalked out that in case the chief of the IRGC dies, who will take his place down to 5 down. This is the reason when on 28th February this year at 9:40 a.m. Iran time, when Israel and America killed the top leadership of Iran, including the supreme leader, just within 1 hour, Iran started retaliation, which is continuing till date. And the fourth major thing that they did in the last 47 years was that they divided their army or IRGC into 31 provincial commands, one command for capital city Tehran and balance one each for Iran's 30 provinces. And the commanders of these provincial commands were given clear directives that when a full war is waged on Iran, they will not wait for any direction from Tehran. They will start retaliating on their own within their area of responsibility. That is the reason Iran has launched full-scale attacks on all its neighbors which are hosting the American military bases. Now, coming on to this war proper, well, buoyed by the success that America got on 3rd February in Venezuela when it kidnapped the president and his first lady at midnight, on 8th January, Donald Trump passed orders to the American military to plan an offensive on Iran, along with Israel. On 13 January midnight was the time decided for the attack on Iran. On 38 January morning, in the Situation Room of the White House, when President Trump was being briefed on the final plans which were to be done late that night, two important things happened. One, America's top intelligence chiefs told Donald Trump an invasion on Iran would be disastrous for America. And two, various Gulf countries conveyed their message to America that they will not allow their air bases, their airspace, and their land to be used for offensive against Iran, as they don't want to get involved in a regional war. So under pressure from both these things, Donald Trump relented and he postponed the attack on Iran, which was scheduled on 13 January midnight, and instead gave orders for a huge military buildup around Iran with the aim to coerce them, to force them. Well, after 13 January, one important thing happened which shook the world. That was the release of the Epstein files. Such was the crescendo created by the Epstein files that world over 10 important leaders had to resign from different countries. Pressure was now mounting on Donald Trump because his name was figuring at various places in the Epstein files. There was a talk of impeaching him. Coming under this pressure, and obviously Netanyahu was for long after Donald Trump to wage a war on Iran, the rich Jewish lobby in America, which is officially known as the lobby, which has 50 very big Jewish organizations, and the Jews contribute handsomely in elections to both the Republicans and the Democrats, and that is the reason they have a big control and say in the White House. These three factors finally made Donald Trump relent for a war on Iran. But primarily it was Epstein files. Because had the Epstein files not been released, America would not have gone to war with Iran. We saw last year what happened, that despite Israel telling America to go in a full-fledged war with Iran, Donald Trump did not go. He went for a fake kind of a Operation Midnight Hammer, in which not a single casualty of Iranians took place because Iranians were informed beforehand that at so and so time, so and so places will be attacked by American B-52 bombers. So what changed from June last year to February this year? Just one thing, Epstein files. And the release of this gave a golden opportunity to the lobby of the Jews in USA as well as Netanyahu to put pressure on Trump. Now, on 21st February this year, a week before the attack on Iran, in a meeting in the White House, General Don McCain, who's the chief of Joint Staff of the American military, told President Trump that attack on Iran would not be beneficial to USA. But Trump would listen to none of it because, like I said, the Epstein files pressure was mounting with each passing hour. And it was decided to go ahead with the attack on Iran on 28th February. On 24th February, 4 days before the war, Nate Swanson, who was the officer in charge of Iran affairs in the White House, vociferously protested against America's plan to invade Iran. He was thrown out of his job. He later wrote an article also, which has gone viral now. On 28th February, USA and Israel waged a war on Iran. Now, like I said, for 47 years, Iran had prepared itself well for this day. That is the reason today is the 19th day of the war, and Iran is not ready for a ceasefire. Iran has put three conditions for ceasefire with America. One, America compensates for all the damage done in Iran in this war. Second, America should give it in writing that America and Israel will not wage a war on Iran ever in future. And third, America should vacate all its military bases in the Middle East. Well, USA certainly will not accept to these three demands. So that is where the problem is coming in, that Donald Trump is not getting a face saver. The Iranian Foreign Minister Agrachi has said very clearly on 2nd of March this year that whether the war takes 4 days, 4 weeks, 4 months, or 4 years, Iran is prepared for it. And Iran has prepared well. That's the reason we are seeing every passing day, it is creating havoc in the Middle East. Iran has capitalized on three things very well. One, the Strait of Hormuz, which is in news because a large majority of the world's oil and gas flows through that region or transits through that region. Secondly, Iran has made full use of its geography. If we see the map of Iran, on three sides, it is mountainous. That is the Zagros Mountains, the Elburz Mountains, and the Makran mountainous ranges. And the fourth side is the sea, but it has rocky beaches. Unlike the beaches in countries where it is sandy, the beach in Iran is rocky. Now, in military teaching, it is taught to us that whenever a country wages a war on the other, the attacker to defender ratio has to be 3:1. Now, like I said, Iran has got mountains on three sides. Iran has a standing army of 610,000 soldiers. USA has a standing army of 9.5 lakh soldiers, and Israel has about 170,000 soldiers. This means for 6 lakh soldiers of Iran, USA and Israel combined have about 11 lakh soldiers. Now, as per the military teaching, when attacker does attack in plains, the ratio has to be 3:1, and when in mountains, it has to be 9:1. So going by the Ratio for a mountainous attack, USA and Israel would require 54 lakh soldiers. Today, they don't have that strength. Let us assume today the American government and the Israeli government pass an order that every eligible youth will join the American army and the Israeli army. Still, transporting 54 lakhs is impossible because America is 11,500 kilometers away from Iran and Israel is 1,600 kilometers away from Iran. So, any ground invasion will mean the Iranians slaughtering the incoming soldiers like mincemeat. That is why President Trump is not going for a ground invasion, and neither will he. What is the end of this war? Every war has to end. It may take weeks, months, or years. It has to end one day. Whenever this war ends, Iran will emerge more stronger in the Middle East. And secondly, the two-state solution is on the horizon now. Because had the Iranian regime been changed and a pro-American man installed as as Iran's president, the two-state solution would have died. It would have been buried in the grave. Because of all the 57 Muslim majority nations who are part of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, it is only Iran which is steadfast for the two-state solution. Rest all countries just do lip service, but no one is interested because all 56 Islamic countries are more or less in line with USA, except Iran. Out of 21 countries in the Middle East, 13 are Arab countries. 12 are aligned with USA, only Iran isn't. So the biggest thorn in the Middle East or in the Muslim world is Iran. And that is why all these efforts to change the regime there, which will never be successful. Like the last year 12-day war, this year too, or whenever this war ends, Iran is watching how it is decimating USA and Israel, and Iran is on a sure march towards yet another victory in this war. Thank you so much. Please like the show, forward it as much as you can, and do subscribe to the channel if you haven't so far. And most important, do give your comments because your comments help me decide the next show on Facts and Figures. Thank you once again. Jai Hind.